Today I'm going to talk about Sai Pallavi. So today I'm going to talk about bodily insecurities and how some people are really confident about themselves and how you can be confident about yourself in the media industry these days. People like Vijay Sethupathi, who
பிரேமம் நான் பண்ணலைன்னா நானும் ஒரு 100 க்ரீம் போட்டிருப்பேன் மூஞ்சி மேலே எப்படி ஆக்னே ரிமூவ் பண்ணுறது.
When I was young, when I was a teenager, those were times when Aishwarya Rai and Sushmita Sen and Lara Datta and all were participating, and it was a big deal, you know. And when me as a teenager, imagine I'm looking at these women and they look nothing like me. In my lactation counseling practice, they have shared stories about how they find it difficult to even put the baby to the breast. I remember once when I had a discussion on breast size on my Instagram handle, getting back to their modeling career or movie careers with seemingly perfect bodies looking just like how it looked pre-pregnancy, and you know, a lot of so-called beautiful, pretty, handsome people are also not confident. If we promote or encourage bigger people, are we promoting obesity? And I told my husband, I'm irritated with this, I don't know what to do. So yeah, so that's a curl story that changed the way I see myself. So I'm talking about body insecurities today.
Okay.
And I couldn't help but share your motta podra story. Hello and welcome to Stories with Maya's Amma. Today I'm going to talk about Sai Pallavi. I'm going to talk about how she has been inspiring a lot of people with her zero makeup, or maybe minimal makeup, even pimple-filled face, and how a lot of people are talking about how she is so confident about herself. So today I'm going to talk about bodily insecurities and how some people are really confident about themselves and how you can be confident about yourself with whatever flaws and imperfections you all have. We all have. Who is perfect, right? I'm actually really glad that there are a lot of people in the media industry these days, people like Vijay Sethupathi, who are making us normal people in the public feel okay and confident about ourselves. And I have some perspectives that I want to share with you, why I feel they are confident about themselves, and maybe we can have a healthy discussion in the comment section today about how to become bodily confident and also how to impart that confidence to our children. So we're going to talk about all of that today. Before that, I'm going to show you that video which I recently saw of Sai Pallavi, which inspired me to talk about this.
பிரேமம் நான் பண்ணலைன்னா நானும் ஒரு 100 க்ரீம் போட்டிருப்பேன் மூஞ்சி மேலே எப்படி ஆக்னே ரிமூவ் பண்ணுறது, எப்படி இது பண்ணுறது எனக்கு தெரியாமல். எப்போ அவங்க ஒரு ஆக்டரை பிளெயினாக மேக்கப் எல்லாம் எதுவும் போடாமல் அப்படியே, நான் ஐப்ரோ ட்வீஸ் இது வரைக்கும் பண்ணதே இல்லை. ஸோ எதுவுமே பண்ணாமல் ஐ ஆஸ்க் அல்ஃபான்ஸ், இதெல்லாம் பண்ணணுமா, நான் ஹீரோயினாக நடிக்க சொல்கிறீங்க, இது எதுவுமே பண்ணல, முடி வெட்டல, எப்படி இது பாசிபிள், பார்க்குறவங்க ஏதாவது நடந்து போயிட்டாங்கன்னா தியேட்டர்லேருந்து. ஸோ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டே ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஷோ அம்மாவோட கை பிடிச்சி லிட்டரலி பிரேக்கிங் ஹர் போன்ஸ். ஐயோ வாய்ஸ் வேறு பாருமா எப்படி இருக்குன்ட்டு, பாய் மாதிரி இருக்குது. ஏன்னா இப்போது ஃபோன் யாராவது எடுத்தாங்கன்னா, ஹலோ சார் அம்மா கிட்ட ஃபோன் கொடுக்குறீங்களாமா, யோ நான் அதுக்காகவே நிறைய டைம் ஹலோ அப்படின்னு நான் பேசியிருக்கேன். ஸோ நிறைய இன்செக்யூரிட்டிஸ் எனக்கே இருந்திருக்கா. அதனால எந்த விதத்தில் இது I have the power to change at least konjamavude, adnala I would like to use it the right.
Beautiful, right? Bodily insecurities are a universal phenomenon. I'm sure all of you agree. In my last 15 years of mental health practice, as well as being in the content creation, influencing field, and hearing so many people's stories, I have not come across even one person who is 100% okay with their whole body. Either they are not okay with their whole body or maybe one single specific part of their body. But some people have crossed that challenge and have become confident and secure in their own skin by doing their own inner work, by doing their own healing, maybe through therapy and many other methods, but majority are not there yet. Same as my story. So for me also, I have not been a confident person, and it has all been a very recent development for me, confidence. I can personally think of 2-3 things that I was worried about when I was growing up. One mainly was my skin color. I'm a dark wheatish shade, and many in my family were very fair. And the constant comparisons and the constant criticism and discrimination that I have gone through in my family, extended family, as well as school, and you know how it is, right? I mean, all the dark skinned girls can definitely agree. There is a lot of discrimination in schools with skin color. So that has happened. My mom used to say that, I'm beautiful, I'm pretty and all of that, but it wasn't enough for me. Same with my curly hair. My mom always used to say, you have such thick curls, nice curls, beautiful curls, all of that, but it wasn't really satisfactory for me, I always talk about this, especially in parenting classes. It's very important that the child gets to hear positive feedback about their, body or something that they do or whatever. But if the loudest voice that they hear is something opposite, then they are going to listen to that also. So for me, in my case, though my mom used to tell good things about me, the loudest voice was still negative. So there was this bullying and shaming and discrimination happening around me, and that was really loud for me. That and my specs, I started wearing specs when I was, I think, 8 years old. So from that time itself, you know how every Indian language will have some, shaming word for a person who wears glasses, soda buddhi or chashmish, and so many things, yeah. So all of that. So it was there in my childhood, and I used to then think, okay, fine, I'm not pretty or I'm not beautiful in the conventional sense. Then what else can I do to cover this up? So I used to focus on academics. I used to focus on extracurricular activities so that, this flaw is not seen or talked about. Yeah, pretty much that was my childhood. And I was never, ever confident about any part of my body, to be very honest. Though people used to say good things, I really didn't bother because I had this deep belief that I was an ugly duckling. So what changed? I'll talk about it. But before that, let me just go into why we end up like this. Because we were all cute little babies at one point of time, and I'm sure a baby wouldn't feel bad about itself for not having hair on its head or for not being able to walk or not being able to talk, right? Then how do these beliefs get into that baby, or when it grows up into a child? From where does this come? So I think the most important factor is childhood. I'm going to focus on so many mental health related concepts on this podcast, and everywhere or somewhere or the other, this childhood is definitely going to come. Okay, so here also same thing. Childhood plays a huge role in how a person perceives themselves, their body, their features. So what has your family said about your body or bodily features? What have people in school said about your body, bodily features? All that gets into your subconscious and it starts working on itself. Even if somebody says good things, we have something called negativity bias, okay? So we tend to navigate towards the worst outcomes sometimes. So all that keeps working inside and keeps telling you that, oh, they didn't look at you. Oh, maybe because you were dark. Oh, you don't have a boyfriend. Oh, maybe because you wear glasses or you look like a caterpillar. Or, oh, they didn't consider you for that play or that dance program. Oh, that's because, you don't look conventionally pretty. Oh, they made you act as a devil and not as an angel because you're not fair enough to be an angel. There are so many girls who have been participating in dance programs that have told me, they've been made to stand behind, though they were good performers, just because of their skin color. I'm not exaggerating. These things still happen, I'm sure. And it's not just for girls, boys also. So many people have shared on DMs how they have been discriminated based on their looks. Even recently, I had a discussion on my Instagram feed about baldness, how male pattern baldness affects men. So yeah, men, women, all of us, we all go through a lot in our childhood and in our teenage. That becomes a strong factor to subconsciously make us feel that we are not good enough. The second biggest reason I could think of was, again, a subconscious programming, but through media, through patriarchal norms. Let's say, for example, if certain things are considered to be conventionally beautiful, and that is being propagated in ads or movies or in popular media as beauty, then we start thinking that, oh, I'm not looking like that, so I'm not beautiful, right? So media has definitely played a huge role in a lot of our lives. In my life, yes, a big role it has played, because when I was growing up during my teenage, this Miss World, Miss Universe competitions were a big thing. Nowadays, I'm not sure how popular they are. We might not even know who are winning those pageants. But when I was young, when I was a teenager, those were times when Aishwarya Rai and Sushmita Sen and Lara Datta and all were participating. And it was a big deal, you know. And when me as a teenager, imagine I'm looking at these women and they look nothing like me. And they are Miss World and Miss Universe and all of that. And I used to wonder, oh my God, I'm nowhere next to these people. So which means obviously I'm not beautiful or pretty. And for a child, for a teenager, those things are very important. Yes, you might be academically really good. You might have a great humor sense. You might be a kind person. But looks, yes, it matters a lot. Maybe not for others, but for that teenager, yes, it matters a lot. I also remember with my curls, I think one of the biggest reasons I hated it because I never saw it anywhere. Yes, I grew up in Kerala and half of Kerala's population has curly hair, we all agree. But even then in Kerala, I have faced curly hair shaming. Now thinking back, I don't know how it happened, but it happened. I used to hate it. And to add fuel to fire, I never saw curly hair anywhere. Not in any movies, not in any ads. Ads always used to show straight haired, silky, soft, bouncy hair. Today, yes, a lot of companies have started showing curly haired models. Today, movies have curly haired actresses, which I think is a wonderful thing. Great representation for all the young curly haired girls today. But back in my days of nothing, there was nothing. Another factor which I think contributed to a lot of bodily insecurity were the sexual shaming and sexual blocks that a lot of us carried in childhood as well as teenage. It can be things like being groped in public. A lot of women whom I have met in my lactation counseling practice, they have shared stories about how they find it difficult to even put the baby to the breast because they have such a lot of aversion to their own body parts. And a lot of it goes back to some abusive scenario that would have happened. So I have seen those extremes also. So yeah, a lot of us who have been molested or groped or harassed or even sexually abused, especially in cases where some people would have gone through sexual trauma. So those kind of things definitely affect bodily confidence. It makes a person shrink, because it's a very, very vulnerable, very, very, deep area that has been attacked or violated. So that affects us from deep within, and we literally shrink. So I see body language and I can kind of figure out if a person has sexual shame. A lot of it can be seen from the outside as well. So I think these things also definitely contribute to us having bodily insecurities. I remember once when I had a discussion on breast size on my Instagram handle, equal number of girls, the small breasted ones as well as the large breasted ones, reported how they have been shamed. So the big breasted ones have been shamed for breasts being big, and small breasted ones have been shamed for breasts being too small or chest being flat, etc. So it's almost like whatever you have, you are shamed. People want to judge you, shame you for something or the other. So that was a revelation to a lot of people, because it's not just this set that is being shamed, it is that set also that is being shamed. So everybody is being shamed. Another area that contributes to bodily insecurities is postpartum. Again, not everybody goes through it. Whoever has gone through it can actually connect with what I say now. Stretch marks, pigmentation, hair fall, the weight fluctuations that happens during pregnancy and then afterwards, all that contributes to a woman being insecure about herself after childbirth. So I have met a lot of women who have been fine until childbirth with regard to body or how they look, but afterwards they are a mess. Every day they are very miserable about how they look. And again, to add fuel to fire, popular celebrities or media personalities getting back to their modeling career or movie careers with seemingly perfect bodies, looking just like how it looked pre-pregnancy, and even fitness influencers for that matter, saying that they got back to their pre-pregnancy body in 40 days, 2 months, and all that adding on to the pressure. So there's a separate video that is coming up specifically for postpartum, which is going to heal a lot of postpartum women. I mean, postpartum, sometimes, people say that postpartum goes until 5 years after childbirth, or even 10 years after childbirth, you are in that state of postpartum sometimes. So every woman who has gone through it, a beautiful video is coming up, don't miss that. But yes, postpartum is another area where bodily insecurities start off. With all of that, you might be thinking the so-called people who have been privileged to fall under the conventionally beautiful, pretty, handsome bracket, they are all confident. No, that is not the case. A lot of so-called beautiful, pretty, handsome people are also not confident, and I wonder why. They would have also gotten to hear something or the other from their childhood, or they are also under that pressure of becoming better or looking in a certain way, or a certain feature looking in a certain way, etc. I don't know exactly what, but why do we see a lot of so-called beautiful people doing body modifications? Purely non-medical body modifications are going on to look better. And yes, many people are bringing it under the self-care, self-love bracket, which I don't agree to. But I really think even people who are conventionally beautiful in our eyes might not be actually confident. So maybe definition of beauty and definition of confidence is different, right? So maybe it's because of that. They are not confident, that self-esteem has not been nurtured. Maybe that's why they are also feeling like, this part of my face doesn't look good, or this isn't in proportion to this, or I don't know what. But yeah, we see that sad trend also these days. Another point that I want to discuss here is about bigger people being celebrated. I get this on my DMs also now and then, where people have asked me, ma'am, if we promote or encourage bigger people, are we promoting obesity? Which again I feel is a very nuanced, layered concept, but to simplify, what I feel like saying is, I feel we have to still encourage and give positive feedback to people who have bigger bodies, not because we are encouraging obesity. Everybody knows obesity can lead to a lot of health issues. Even that person would know that, right? It's not like we know any better about another person's body than themselves. They anyway know how they look like. What I feel is, when we encourage that person to love themselves, that does not mean that person should not feel that they should not change something about themselves. So I feel self-love should be there to want to take care of one's body, right? So at the end of the day, even reducing weight is secondary, I feel. Taking care of oneself is more important than that. And you will be able to take care of your body only from a place of love, not from a place of hate, right? So imagine hate is here, love is here, self-care is here. The person who loves their body will take care of it better. So there's no point in hating that person or shaming that person or putting them down. Encouragement and love and kindness can go a long way. And for a person to feel like changing or modifying a part of themselves for health reasons should be encouraged. It's not like if you love yourself, you should just be like that forever. There is no rule like that. You can still change, modify certain things about yourself, beautify yourself for health and non-health related reasons, as long as it doesn't affect your mental health, I feel. It shouldn't be an obsession and it shouldn't be the driving factor of your life. If all that is being dealt with, then I think you can do whatever you want with your body, because we have something called bodily autonomy also at the end of the day. We can choose to do anything with our body as long as we are adults. That brings us to the teenagers, the young adults that are growing up. What they need from us as responsible adults, as teachers, as parents, as cousins, as older siblings. What can we do? Yes, we need to instill that confidence in them somehow or the other by being confident in our own skin. So we can't practice something else and preach something else, right? We have to practice what we preach. So if we are asking them to be confident about who they are, then they should observe us doing the same thing. We can't shame ourselves in front of the mirror and then tell them, you be confident in who you are, right? That won't match. It doesn't make sense. And today's children, today's teenagers, they are smarter than all of us. They can figure out very easily how our energy is different when we say certain things that we are not practicing. So yes, so the best thing that we can do is instill confidence in them somehow or the other on a regular basis, and also work on ourselves so that we are confident in who we are as well. There are more videos coming on sex ed and puberty, by the way, so more teenage information is coming up. Coming back to Sai Pallavi, yes. So the main point of today's discussion, why I wanted to show her video in the beginning and then talk about all these things, is because she speaks about how somebody else was instrumental in her accepting her own body, which I think is a valid point. Because when we talk about self-love, we fail to realize that we are also social beings, right? So that self-love can be increased if there is a little bit of validation from outside as well. We can't really be positive in a toxic way that, it should all come from within me. Things should change inside me only. Nobody else matters. That might not work, because for a lot of us, getting to hear something from somebody can be a huge boost to our self-esteem, our body confidence. And Sai Pallavi talks about that, how her movie director of her first movie let her be and told her this is exactly how I envision this person to be, with her pimples or with her voice and all of that. And how when people accepted that, she felt confident about herself. So I think that's a huge point we sometimes miss out on. It's not just that self-love arising from a person and, making that person feel all good. It's also about that love coming from everywhere. So it does matter how others talk to you, how they are kind to you. So that's what we need to do with our fellow beings, with all their flaws. If we can also be kind to them, accept them, wholeheartedly love them, then I think they will do what is right for them with their own body autonomy. Our job is just to give that support and encouragement, which is where I need to talk about my hair again. When I had decided to straighten my hair, which I'm sure all curly girls who had issues with their curls would have tried, which is chemical hair straightening. I also did it. When I decided to do it in college, I was very happy. I thought my life is going to change, and it did change. Of course, low maintenance. You just head out and you don't have to bother. It's just straight, so didn't have to comb, didn't have to maintain. It was wonderful and it was easy and it made me look different and got more confidence for some time. After which, what happened? Hair started falling off like crazy, number one. Number two, people who straighten their hair for the first time, they don't really realize that your hair that is going to grow out is going to look curly. So that a lot of people miss out on that fine detail. And that was irritating me. Oh my God, what is this? Oh, my actual hair is curly. That is what is growing out. Then you go and straighten it again and again and again, so that, the hair that is growing out also looks exactly like the hair that has grown out. And that went on for many years. I think for 8 to 9 years, I had chemically straightened hair. And then one fine day, I think in 2012, the month of April, I remember, I was frustrated and fed up. So I had around 3-4 inches of curly hair, and then it was all straight hair. And I had to iron the curly head bits every time I went out. And it was getting really frustrating and irritating. And I told my husband, I'm irritated with this. I don't know what to do. He was like, okay, if you want to go straighten it again, you just go and straighten it again. That was what he could do. And then I was like, I'm not going to do it again. I'm done. And what I did was I just held my own hair and I just chopped off all the straightened bits. That's what happened in the month of April in 2012. And after that, I had this big ball of curly hair on my head and I suddenly didn't know what to do with it. And then I went on YouTube and I was like, curly hair maintenance. And then there were no Indian pages about curly hair maintenance. And that time, in 2012, I think I found a website called Naturally Curly, which was a US-based website. And they had all these creams and lotions and gels and stuff, and somebody was explaining how to maintain it and everything. And I just went to some department store. I got one men's gel and I just tried something and I liked how it looked. I didn't like it, but I was like, okay, fine. Now I have to do something with it. No. Anyway, I just went out with it. And yes, other people are observing me, looking at me, because that time there were not many curly head people. It was not too popular to flaunt your curls. So yes, I was being kind of looked at in a weird way. But I just held on to myself for a few months and I got over it. At one point where I realized that when I hated my hair, I felt others were also hating it. But when I started loving my curls, I realized that others were also loving it. So it was literally a projection of what I was feeling that I was getting back. And yeah, this formula I have applied in many areas of my life. So that's a curl story that changed the way I see myself. So, speaking of hair, my best friend also has a hair-related story that I want to share. I want her to share it with you all actually. Wait, I'll make a phone call and then I'll talk about it. So, my bestie, Gotha haripriya, you might have seen her in 2-3 conversations already. She did a tonsure last year sometime. மொட்டை போட்டாங்க, மொட்டை அடிச்சாയിരുന്നു. And that sort of changed how she saw herself. I want her to explain it to you. Wait, I'll show you one call. Hi, G.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. So I'm talking about body insecurities today.
Okay.
And I couldn't help but share your motta pota story, tonsuring story. So, the point I was trying to make was how it's very important to be validated from the outside world also, so that our body confidence increases, right? So I'm sure when you did your your tonsure, so many people were shocked because we only seen you with your long, luscious black hair, and suddenly we're seeing you hairless. Can you talk about, first of all, how you felt? Were you insecure, unhappy, scared, whatever, what you felt in the beginning? But how important was it that everyone else also sort of validated you?
My decision to do the tonsure was a very spontaneous one. I didn't think too much, so I went and did it. After I did it is when I started thinking like, how am I going to style my hair? Oh no, there is an event that I had said and participate in. There was an interview. How am I going to show up like this? So there were a lot of social engagements, a lot of interviews that I had to push, because in the initial few months the hair was very short. So I was feeling very unsure of myself, of putting myself out there. Me seeing myself with no hair itself is very new for me. It was very new. So I think I was very vulnerable about putting myself out there. I had a lot of insecurities. But after hair started growing a little bit, just a little bit, I was thinking that it had to grow to this much for people to feel okay. But a little bit, after it grew a little bit itself, I started getting lots of nice comments saying, oh, it's so swag, you look so badass, this is suiting you much more, can you leave it like this, don't grow your hair, this is so nice. The more comments I heard about it, the more I started feeling confident, I should say. I started feeling like, oh, okay, so even this is a way to look beautiful, because we have our own standards of beauty, of what feminine is and all of that. So then when people started noticing, recognizing that I look smart, I look beautiful even this way, I started feeling very good about it. I'm like, okay, fine. So I have backup hairstyle also now in case hair doesn't grow back to the original thickness. And I'm like, no problem, I can keep it short.
Yeah, that's nice. Thank you for sharing that, G. Thank you so much. You're not with me on the interview, so I thought I'll get you on call. Bye. Love you, bye. Before we conclude, I'd like to tell all of you who are not confident or insecure about your whole entire body, or maybe some parts of your body, that we need to somehow gather the strength and courage to start loving our body. No other way. There is no shortcut for this. And I'm sure many of you are being shamed by somebody, or bullied by somebody, discriminated for something or the other. But I think when it starts with you, when you stand up for yourself with your own body boundaries and your communication boundaries and your energy boundaries, wherein you are very clear about how people should treat you and what they should not be talking about, and how you carry yourself, when it all comes together, in 6 months or in a year, you will start seeing a different person. This doesn't happen overnight. So I want all of you to be kind to yourself and to your body, mainly because You are inside your body. Where else are you? Swati is here. Swati is not there. So, body is the vessel that is holding you. That's why it's called a temple. Body is your temple, right? So, it is the vessel that holds you. You are inside your body. So, it's your responsibility to take good care of it. Yeah? And taking care of the body comes from a place of love, not from a place of hate. So, starting to love your body is very difficult. Body positivity is very difficult. Body neutrality is much more easier, I would say. Being very neutral, feeling very neutral about your body. Like, what does body do? It has certain functions. Is it doing its functions? Is it taking me from point A to point B? So, just accepting the body for what it is doing. That is body neutrality. And from there, slowly what will happen? The more care and affection we give our body, from body neutrality, we will get to a point where we are actually body positive. And even if we don't get body positive, it's okay. It's fine. Just being neutral about the body is more than enough. Because at that time, we will still be taking care of it. And I think that's more important. And when we take care of our body, we'll automatically imbibe those value systems in our children. Or we'll not have to do anything specifically for them. They'll just observe and learn. They'll just observe and figure out, this is the way to be confident about oneself. My mom is doing it. My dad is doing it. So I might as well do it. And even if they hear other people's comments and criticisms and bullying or shaming, whatever happens, if we can continue having healthy conversations with them and keep on assuring them that they are perfect just the way they are, I think even if they get to hear these negative statements, they will get to a point where they can handle it or they can stand up for themselves, because parallelly we are also imbibing concepts such as boundaries or body autonomy and how to communicate and all of that, right? So it'll all come together at some point. So that's about it, everybody. Let me know in the comments if you are going through body shaming or if you have been someone who stood up against body shaming, what helped you, what didn't help. Let me know all of that. I'm sending you all a lot of virtual hugs and healing energy from my side so that you can all start working on yourself. Thank you.